Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sauce Wrestling Show. It's Noah G. The G stands for greatness, but above all, grit. With me, as always, who am I going to start with? My boy below me, Pete Moss, the Haus with the Haus with the sauce. Did I get that right? It's been 2 weeks, Pete.
It's the Haus with the sauce and the strap. I need to find a way to make that rhyme.
Good luck with that one. We're all for coming up with the gimmicks here. But the Haus with the sauce, Pete Moss. On the other side of him, mi amigo, for the past, what was it, 2012? We're coming up on 8 years now, Jack, of being
9 years.
For 8-9 years of being fans of wrestling and being friends because of it. My boy, Jack Attack, my client in the backyard wrestling world of the glory days. And to my left, with the same name, but of different swag, we have the simple man of no DQ, Noah Foster. Boys, I'm so glad to be back. It's good to be back.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, hopefully everybody had a good 4th of July, good time with the fam, cooked out, had good food, whole kit and caboodle. But that being said, we still had, despite the holiday, so much wrestling stuff happening, and it was insanity. I think the first place we ought to begin is the flipping of the channels, if you will, and not having to pay for pay-per-view. Fyter Fest versus the Great American Bash. We have the classic Wednesday night battle of AEW versus NXT. But they're putting on a bigger show, and they're giving us title matches. They're giving us quality TV. And surprisingly, NXT came out on top of the ratings. Like, they won the first night. They beat Fyter Fest, which is insane. And people attribute that towards the main event, which is Io Shirai and Sasha. And people even go even further and say that Sasha Banks is solely responsible for NXT's success that night. But I will not just speak on behalf of just everyone else. I know you guys are as opinionated, if not more opinionated and informed as I am. And I've been rambling like a madman for the past 5 minutes. So, guys, what did you guys think last Wednesday night? Were you guys pleased? What were you guys' overall thoughts? Jack, I'm going to start with you.
It's kind of weird. I kind of thought the first night of both were kind of lackluster, honestly. I mean, sure, we had the Io Shirai, Sasha Banks match, but what else did we have on the NXT card? Not something to really catch my attention, and it shocked me that AEW lost this week, since we had build up, we had Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page beat the Best Friends to retain their titles, and we saw a little foreshadowing with FTR, and I thought that was so much more interesting than the entire product of NXT. But I guess Io Shirai and Sasha Banks really tore the house down that night, and props to them. But I really think that it was a very lackluster night for both first shows, if you ask me. I'm much more looking forward to tomorrow night shows for both.
Before I move on to I'm just going to randomly decide who speaks next on it. But Jack, the only question I have for you on that topic is, so in your opinion, was the Io Shirai Sasha Banks match better than the tag team main event that we had on AEW?
I don't know. The Best Friends came in with Trent's mom's minivan, so it's really hard to top that, if you ask me.
One of the best entrances of all.
The best entrances, bro. He gave his mom a hug and a kiss. What's wrong with that?
He already won that match, regardless of result.
It's over. It's over.
Babyface maneuver,
and I think
babyface 101 maneuver, right?
If I may, I think we're having the same problem with Sasha Banks and Bayley as Charlotte had before, where they're appearing on all 3 shows, and it kind of diminishes their value a little bit. If we look back in 2014, 2015, we saw Kane and Big Show every single week, and it really diminished their value. So I think that's kind of the same thing that might be happening nowadays. I don't think it matters how good of a performer you are. If you're showing up every single day, people will get tired of you and want to move on to something else.
Exactly. And we had that in Great American Bash night 1 of Sasha and Bayley. Exactly. And I have choice words later on in the show. But Pete, what did you think of last Wednesday night?
So the first thing I have to say is, if you're going to do a show like that where it's a 2-night thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see it be what I saw out of both shows, where the first night is just kind of looked at as an undercard. I kind of felt that, with a couple minor exceptions, and I'll talk about that here. First off, I got to say that AEW won. In my mind, AEW won, and I'll tell you why. Hikaru Shida and Penelope goddamn Ford. First off, I want to see if Kip Sabian went to his dentist, because that guy knows how to take a no stick to the face. and you're right, the main event of both shows were very good, but Sasha and Bailey are kind of, pulling a Charlotte right now, and I just don't think it's doing very good moves for them, because they are being very, very, they're doing very good things for themselves, canceling each other out. To your point, Jack, if Corbett Kane back in 2014 and 2015 hadn't wrestled, that character would have been so much better. Everything else,
see him every week.
Yeah, and the one other thing about Fyter Fest Night 1 that I think won it for me had to have been Cody and Jake Hager.
Actually, I feel that should have been the main event.
There was one thing that did save the NXT Night 1 for me, and that was watching. I'm a little biased, but that's watching Tegan Knox become the number 1 contender.
Yeah,
they did it. The best thing they could have done was start the night off with that. If not, end it. It's like Bubba Ray Dudley said this on Busted Open on a constant basis. If you're not last, you want to be first. If you're not rock and roll all night, you want to be Detroit Rock City.
There you go.
That's really all I got.
Noah?
I'm trying to be really good about this.
Well, great points, gentlemen. And in my opinion, I don't believe there's a Wednesday Night War, but I get it. It's best for business. Business wants to profit. Business wants to be the number 1 thing. But in my opinion, my preferred show was actually AEW. Hikaru Shida Penelope Ford was my favorite match the entire night. I love the moment that Tegan Knox finally got the best of her so-called former friend in the opener, as WWE keeps driving the fact we have the best growth and evolution and development in our women's division, especially for NXT, as we've seen. But Penelope Ford, that was the best match I've ever seen her wrestle in, okay? And Hikaru Shida made her look like a star. That was by far my favorite match of the entire Wednesday night. Other moments that really came into play for me is definitely the best friends, best entrance ever, but also a very competitive tag team championship match where, again, the tag team picture falls short and dead in WWE, the biggest flaw, even in NXT. No mention of Imperium, no mention of the champs. Other moments on NXT, I get it. It's Sasha Banks. NXT is the more developed brand. It's been around for 10 years, but now it's being defined as a brand now for the last, year, 2.5 years, something like that. And you have Sasha Banks versus Io Shirai, a dream match everyone was looking forward to. And they interconnected the rivalries going on both Raw and SmackDown.
I really like that.
Making you feel like you're literally seeing something among all 3 brands in one match. Very good competitive main event, but keeping it short because I know I can ramble about this forever. I personally enjoyed AEW more, and going off the comment about both these first nights being an undercard compared to the second night, I have to agree considering you have this all or nothing championship match in NXT and the specials with Orange Cassidy and Jericho to come on Fyter Fest, as well as the insane, who knows which way it's going to go, 8-man tag on AEW. But bottom line is this, I still watch both simulcastly live, but AEW draws more of my attention than NXT as a whole.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. I just brain farted. Noah said something that I completely agree with, and then I just lost it completely. But Jack, you were shaking. I noticed something. You were shaking your head as Noah was talking. Were you disagreeing, or were you just? Come on, we welcome all.
I'm beefing with Tegan Knox right now, and I'm beefing with the argument that with Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai, because I think that feud was handled horribly.
Oh,
here's my
agree,
thing.
100%.
Here's my thing. It's nice to see the good guy win. It's
you want that. That's the
you
thing.
want that, but you want that
over.
I will draw comparisons to Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer didn't win a single match until the end of the feud. We haven't seen Dakota Kai win a clean single match in this feud since she turned heel.
Right.
Tegan Knox has been dominating this feud, so it doesn't feel as much as a payoff as it is it's just Dakota Kai now.
Right.
Well, I also think about Tegan Knox and the story they put into her comeback, which I also think really brought it all together in her winning this fatal four-way as well.
Yeah.
I look at that as being part of the reason also why she won this too. Plus,
But
you don't think Dakota Kai is going to interrupt freaking Tegan Knox and Io Shirai? You know those two.
I know
That
this.
is-
I know
That's
she will, but
precisely why.
Dakota Kai had the same injury. Dakota Kai had the same route back.
But she's
So
a heel.
But I get that she's a heel. But if we're smarks now, if we're gonna be fucking smart marks, and we're gonna say, well, Tegan Knox had this injury. Dakota Kai had the same injury. She didn't have it twice, but she had the same injury that put her on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So the
An
idea
ACL tear
that
is an ACL tear.
And maybe that's going to drive more towards her character too, because now she's going to be even more bitter. The fact that Tegan Knox is getting all this attention and has a championship
but we haven't seen that.
And I was voted breakout star of the year last year. What the hell?
We haven't seen that out of Dakota, though. All we've seen is her
Right.
lose consistently to Tegan Knox.
That's not true. I will interject right there. What we've been seeing from Dakota Kai recently is her every single chance she gets getting the opportunity to do the same thing that Bayley and Sasha are doing. Any sneak attack, any chance that they have to pull one over on the referee, on their opponents, anybody that they want to prey on, they pull a slide victory on and they cheap shot to get off a win. And that's how, if I'm not mistaken, how Dakota Kai even got into the picture in the first place. A cheap shot. Turned her ass around, ran into the cage, and started beating the shit out of Tegan. She's been doing that since she turned heel. She's going to continue to do that because that's what heels are supposed to do. Get you to hate them. So that's what Dakota Kai has been doing. She doesn't always have to win because us as fans, we're like, we want to see the good guy win. So Tegan's been winning. She's been getting this opportunity. I agree with Noah. Dakota Kai is going to get involved with Raquel Gonzalez in this number one contendership match. And or they make it a triple threat somehow. I don't know. Who knows? But the point is I would say Dakota Kai has really established herself as a heel. That being said, in regards to the first night, I don't want to spend too much time talking about night 2 because then we won't have any content for next week.
Yeah.
But I think here's where this is the point. I think at this point, because it's Tuesday and tomorrow night's the night 2, we have the opportunity for AEW, if they're looking at the ratings and using the ratings to measure what they do based off of it, because if to them it's a war, if to NXT it's a war, then
Some people are, some people aren't.
and I'm really interested to see what happens for night 2 on both shows. But, I think this also needs to be addressed. The fact that they named the NXT show for these past 2 weeks Great American Bash. And I don't know if we addressed this a couple weeks ago. I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. And I know where you're going with this. So
The fact that they named the Great American Bash, named their NXT show the Great American Bash, to me, I feel like that was a jab. And it wasn't like they took the knife and stuck it halfway in, if you know what I'm saying. They really went for the ribs because Great American Bash was a concept and a name that that the American Dream, God rest his soul, Dusty Rhodes came up with.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't used that out of respect since then, until now, if I'm not mistaken. They did that out of respect for Dusty. Then all of a sudden, a year into their competition in AEW being around and Cody being somewhat of head honcho, not in comparison to Tony Khan, but somehow head honcho of AEW, Dustin being there as well. And all of a sudden they're going to just name an NXT show Great American Bash. Like, to me, that's a low blow. And personally, I find that, disgusting because that's disrespecting the dead, and you don't do that. WWE, I mean, maybe they weren't even thinking about that. I'd like to think in my heart of hearts, but here's the thing. In my heart of hearts, I'm hoping Vince McMahon, being goddamn near 100 years old, just was like, it's 4th of July. It's almost 4th of July. Do we have an American pay-per-view? Yeah, Great American Bash. Sure. Oh, hear it. To me, I just hope he's that naive in his old age. But for me, I feel like it was him, Hunter, and they were just like, how can we get one up on AEW? Let's call our NXT show Great American Bash. And to me, that's sickening. because I had too much respect for Dusty Rhodes and what he was able to accomplish, and the stuff that he and what he was able to contribute to the business with Ric Flair, like his legacy, and the fact that he was able to pass the business down to his sons, and now they're not in WWE. Like, it was a low blow. I don't know if you guys had any additional thoughts on it. Noah, I want to hear you first on this, because I think I know I rely on you for a lot of knowledge and things that go on and what people talk about.
Well, when I think about Great American Bash, the first thing I think about is pay-per-view. And again, AEW, they try to put on a pay-per-view quality show. So NXT, they try to, once again, bring their game up to that level and try to make NXT look like a pay-per-view show. When I think about pay-per-view shows, I think about climactic endings, big championship matches. And truth be told, NXT really didn't have none of that. There was a continuation with continued storylines and title bouts going on with Raw and SmackDown, as once again, Vince tries to further make NXT simulate into what Raw and SmackDown bring. You already know Vince is already despondent with NXT as it is. He doesn't like the direction. Lord help us if he gets his full grips on it. I feel like we're subtly getting that with the idea that Sasha and Bayley have the tag titles. This gives them an excuse to be on there. But again, the mainstream audience knows them from Raw and SmackDown. When I look at AEW, though, and the fact that Cody already used Bash at the Beach, there's no doubt in my mind that Cody would want to use Great American Bash. Clearly, this was a jab against AEW and Cody, because when you think about the Rhodes and Helmsley, they never really liked each other. They never really were on the same page. And you can tell that Cody definitely felt this, too, because if you did watch his match with Jake Hager, what did his shirt say? Greatest American Nightmare, in the colors of Great American Bash, I might add. Now, I'll give NXT credit, though. There was a nice aesthetic with the set, the red, white, and blue ropes. They made it feel big, but it was still another episode of NXT to me. To me, AEW Dynamite Fighter Fest felt more than just another episode of Dynamite. So that right there, I completely agree with you on both those fronts. With that being said, it makes me wonder how much longer is this going to go on, because I'm sure Cody will want to do Starrcade. I'm sure WWE has a plan for that. And with rumors about WWE wanting to do another special show during SummerSlam weekend, it wouldn't surprise me if it was something like that. Another thing to think about, people want it back. People want to see it. What's going to happen in October? Do you really think that WWE is going to pull an NXT Halloween Havoc? I could honestly see them doing that. The bottom line is this. It's bitterness, but it's also business, because in the end, both these companies, they do feel like they're in war. Even though Tony Khan's more focused on what AEW does, Triple H, I want to believe he's different than Vince. I truly do. But again, there's that business savvy in the end. Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to make the most money? Who are people going to tune into? So I agree, and I don't see it letting up anytime soon. But bottom line is this, AEW, it felt more than a Dynamite to me versus NXT feeling like a pay-per-view like GAB.
God help us if Vince McMahon gets involved with NXT. God help us all if he gets involved with NXT. Oh, gosh.
I feel like the next takeover is going to be called Judgment Day based on what I've been seeing with NXT.
Like just the two-night show. It's the Judgment Day. Oh, that's perfect.
No. I just literally see them doing something weird come August.
Yeah, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, so why not call a pay-per-view or call a NXT show?
Yeah, why not bring up another retired pay-per-view gimmick for just making NXT feel bigger than it actually is, just to try and spite AEW? Right. Because for all you know, AEW might do a normal Dynamite that week, but I digress.
Pete, your thoughts on the fact that WWE named its two-night NXT Spectacular a Great American Bash?
So I personally do not think that this was a jab, only because I know what Dusty Rhodes contributed not just to the business, but also to NXT. There was at one point, he was basically the grandfather of NXT.
Yeah.
And me personally, I'm trying from a moral standpoint to believe that this was a tribute to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, because there's been so many things that NXT has done to pay tribute to him even after his passing. One of those things was the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which they haven't been able to do as much. Well, actually, they did do it this year right before COVID hit. Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne won it. And another thing, was War Games. That was something that Dusty Rhodes a patriarch of. Me personally, I feel that they're, in spite of the fact that Cody Rhodes is on the other side, I think that Dusty Rhodes is still a legend in the business, not the AEW business, the WWE business, a wrestling business, and he contributed so much to this product, and that's never going to be anything that's taken away. And Cody Rhodes, if you've ever paid attention to his social media or in interviews or anything like that, he's not really at it gorgeous. Like, he's not bitter about the way he left WWE. Like, he's been very aggressive towards fans of that claim that he is. Mm-hmm. And particularly about the trademark that issues that have recently come up. He's like, no, it's just business. And exactly. I would have to say that that's probably how he would say it as well. But I also don't know him on a personal level. That's all I got.
It's very fair.
Jack, your thoughts on the American Bash being named for the 2-day NXT schedule we've been having recently?
I guess that makes sense. 4th of July, that kind of thing. Everyone's trying to be patriotic. But I feel like they should let it go. They shouldn't have brought it back. Especially, it feels like it's a attack towards AEW. It's like, oh, they're doing this, let's try and one-up them, as you both Noah said. But other than that, it's just business at the end of the day. Yeah. They're trying to get the better ratings, and even though Tony Khan's just gone out and stated, no, we're not trying to war with WWE, they kind of are by taking a day slot, making them compete for ratings. Right. So whether he wants to admit it or not, they are in a war with it. But it's just business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We can go on what MJF and Taz said during their promos.
You got to be MJF and kidding me. I thought of that today.
That's pretty good.
All right.
You got to be. Anywho.
The only thing I hated about that was what the hell was MJF wearing? Is that a nightgown?
Well,
I hope he never wears that again. That's all I got.
We could go on and on and on. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, AEW was the first to claim that Wednesday night slot, and then WWE retaliated with, you know what, we're going to move NXT onto USA Network, and we're going to put them on Wednesday nights and go head-to-head with AEW. That, to me, that's what happened. So it was counter-programming. Now, and then it was the fans who jumped on that, and basically it's a war.
Dubbed it the Wednesday Night Wars.
We did that. We did that.
The only one I've ever seen them really be mad about was when they counter-programmed Fight for the Fallen, because that was a charity event, and that is totally
that's a whole different debate. And literally,
that's totally understandable.
The word it was charity versus some sort of special airing.
Yeah.
For what?
That I can understand frustration.
For why? We don't need that. We don't need doing that.
What I really hope continues is Jericho's rock and roll and cruise racer. Like, god damn, I love that shit. The fact that
was
a
wrestling ring. By the way, Jericho commentary. Best thing I've heard in a long time as a fan for some wrestling commentary. And I love Marinello, but Jericho, it was special because he doesn't do it every week, and he was on fire.
Yep.
Hilarious.
Exactly. Hilarious commentary. Guys, we have plenty to talk about, but any of you guys have any more additional thoughts on Fyter Fest versus Great American Bash before we move on?
I'm excited for tomorrow.
This week.
Seems like we're doing pretty good on time too.
Yes, sir.
I'm just excited
we're doing pretty
for tomorrow.
Good on time. Everybody who's tuning in, you guys are getting a show because we got some stuff to say.
We are organized.
But anyway, so moving on, and as we move on, I have to take my shades off. We got to talk about Shayna Baszler. Normally, I'd wear shades if the future was bright, but right now, boys, it is not looking bright at all.
That's Shayna Baszler. That's more literal.
Probably a bad time for that background, Noah.
I'm sorry, but it has to be there.
That's why.
The future is not looking bright for Shayna Baszler right now because she's been nowhere to be seen in the main roster.
Why must you hurt me, Vince?
Why? I don't get. To me, I'm baffled and I'm confused because they built her up on NXT to be this badass. They made her a credible heel on NXT, and because they made her a credible heel with Jessamine Duke and the other one, and
Marina Shafir.
That's the actual 4 horsewomen of professional sport
of MMA.
Yep.
Don't discredit our 4 horsewomen, Noah.
I know. I'm just saying that's what they want you to say.
We've
already heard what people think about
I still have hope in that match one day. That 8-woman tag match between the 4 horsewomen for the 4 horsewomen at WrestleMania. I still have hope in that match. Never say never, but then Ronda has to forgive all the people who trash shit her on Twitter.
And then Duke and Shafir have to be ready for the main roster as well.
Oh, that's right.
Forget about that.
Ready. They have not had a wrestling match in weeks.
Yeah, months. The point, but guys, the fact that Shayna Baszler, to me, it just sounds like that this might be it's because Vince doesn't like her.
Absolutely.
It's just mostly because Vince doesn't like her. They've gone on. I mean, it's all over the dirt sheets. It's all over media, basically, that Vince McMahon does not like ex-MMA stars. But I don't know why he pushed. But if that's true, then why the hell did he push Ronda Rousey for as long as he did? Jack, you're laughing. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you just said what I was going to bring up. You just took the words out of my mouth. Like, he's going to push Ronda Rousey to the moon and back as a megastar, have her main event WrestleMania 35, but he doesn't like Shayna Baszler because of her MMA background.
And she's better than Rousey. Like, I will go on record and say that she's a better performer in the WWE ring than Ronda Rousey. Ronda is botchmania. Like, let's be honest, and I'm cutting the shit here. Ronda was botchmania. Her matches were god awful, in my opinion. Even the main event of WrestleMania with Becky Lynch and Charlotte, and Becky made that show. And Charlotte.
Oh yeah, that main event was totally just
exactly
falling apart. And I think part of it was the fact that it just waited so long to actually happen that night. Kind of ironic how WWE literally uploaded it to their YouTube channel today.
Son of a bitch.
It makes him good at commentary.
It actually does.
Exactly.
Despite the crap we give him, and always will.
That's what happens when WrestleMania is 5 hours long.
Yeah.
But the fact that they build her up, so I mean, does Shayna need to go back to NXT at this point, or like what? How do we get her out of the shithole that she's in right now?
I mean, well, but again, you already are sour on Vince. There's like really no turning back. Look at what happened to Ricochet. Look at what happened to Cedric Alexander. Look at what happened to so many people that literally become catering people or people you don't really see anymore. As far as Shayna Baszler goes, if you're not going to be, in Vince's good graces, your only hope is going back to NXT like Finn Balor at this point. And we don't even know what's next for Finn Balor at this point. But yeah, I would say put Shayna back in NXT. Give me her versus Io Shirai.
There you go. I like that. And maybe possibly... is it possible we get babyface Shayna Baszler? Because we've had heel Shayna Baszler this whole time. Like, because at this point, if fans are rallying behind her, seeing that she's being underutilized and not being pushed, then it's a smart move to make her a babyface, wouldn't it?
It'll be a smart move for about a month.
Yeah,
because
that'll be a different dynamic. But also, let's think about this: heels and faces. That's kind of an obligatory type rivalry anymore, it seems, in NXT. Because no matter what, people are going to cheer or boo the hell they want in NXT.
Yeah.
They just love the wrestler.
I just think I think the old school heel versus babyface thing, it's slowly becoming a more postmodern, we're going to cheer for whoever we want to cheer for.
Exactly.
And
it breaks my fucking heart.
It does.
It also breaks storytelling when you think about it.
Yep.
No, I mean, like when
and now Shayna Baszler's wrestling on main event.
Yeah. So my thing is, as far as if Shayna should go back to NXT, I don't think she ever should have left. Quite frankly, I think she should have broken Asuka's title record.
I agree.
I don't think they should have had her hold the title for that long if they weren't going to have her break it. There's no point to have her hold it for that long if they weren't going to have her break it. That's point. All due respect to Rhea Ripley, because if she wouldn't get a win title off of her, and she wouldn't have gotten to face Charlotte at WrestleMania. But with everything that happened, it just ended up being a wash anyway. Not that the match was bad or anything, but it's just it ended up leading to dire straits for Shayna Baszler.
But clearly, Becky Lynch saw the future in Shayna Baszler because Becky wanted to drop the title to Shayna in the first place at this year's WrestleMania.
Honestly, I'm happy that
Becky, of all people, couldn't even change Vince's mind at the time.
I'm happy that
they changed Vince's mind.
I'm happy that they put the belt on Asuka, to be honest with you, but I would have been happier if they would have given it to Shayna.
Yeah.
Because the writing seemed to be on the wall.
She should, because she was in the Money in the Bank match.
She was. And
Yeah.
she didn't even make it up to the ring.
Like, what the heck? Like, come on.
A lot of people didn't.
Well, that's a
There's
whole
alright.
different type of
There's-
match. Remember, it's
there's-
not what it used to be like at WrestleMania. Okay, it's a
That Money in the Bank match was, I would get the fact that they added the cinematography into that, they made it a visual thing, and they made it more like a film than an actual Money in the Bank match. I mean,
yeah.
I'll give credit where credit is due with what's going on right now. I'm glad that that's how they decided to do that pay-per-view. But anyway, I think we can all agree that Shayna Baszler gets back into, like, you know, I don't know. It's just like, how do we save her at this point? Because I think she might get frustrated. She's going to eventually keep getting frustrated. And, like, that's the thing. She's going to get pissed. And hopefully what happens is she gets in somebody's face and we see her back on either NXT, or we actually see her in the limelight of the main event shows as she deserves to be, because she's a credible star. She's learned her craft.
This may sound crazy, but would she go to AEW?
I never thought of that, but
I know she would fucking.
that's an option.
We keep talking about how AEW's women's division needs some star power. There's your
If she
fucking
loves-
star power right there.
If she loves professional wrestling, I think she would go anywhere. I think she would go to AEW.
Absolutely. I don't think we should
She could go to
simply just
Japan.
say these two.
She could go to Ring
I
of
just wanna
Honor.
address these two. But I get what you're saying.
Her going to AEW would be a slap in the face. Let's just face it. That would be yet another star who asks for their release, and the next 2 weeks, and we see them on a AEW Dynamite.
She should pull a Lex Luger and not tell them they're not re-signing, and then have them find out that night.
That's a possible idea. The bottom line is this: right now, I think the only saving grace, do what Finn Balor did, get back to NXT.
I agree with that.
All right.
Anybody have additional thoughts on Shayna Baszler and how the fact that they're just trying to just
Shayna Baszler to AEW
No, it's-
now. Now. I'm so tired of seeing. I'm so tired of
It's
seeing
making
one
me
of my.
Go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're good. I'm so
Pete,
tired of
stop being
seeing.
rude.
Yeah, Pete.
All right.
You're good. You're good. I'm so tired
Love
of
you,
seeing
dude.
people that I invest in. Like, I was invested in Shayna Baszler when she entered number 30 at the Royal Rumble. I'm like, this is it. When she won the Elimination Chamber, I'm like, this is it. When she lost, I'm like, huh?
Mm.
Like, why are we investing?
Okay, and if Vince doesn't
Wrestler
like you,
to
it
just-
doesn't matter.
It just doesn't. It's a dumb system.
I know it is. I'm not
You're
arguing with that.
ruining. I remember that Elimination Chamber match she won. She squashed everyone that was in there, and
Yeah.
it makes them look even worse. She's
It's
not on
just,
TV.
like
I'm just frustrated
CM
by it.
Punk's rant
Right,
on Cole Cabana's podcast.
Oh my God, I love that.
The one thing that stood out to me on that, when he went in to have that conversation with Vince McMahon to tell him he was leaving, the one thing that he stood out to me above all else was when he told him, and I quote, "How do you expect anybody to get better?"
Exactly. And then the exact comparison was AHL hockey players have to play with NHL hockey players in order to get better. And here's the thing: if they're not going to give her that opportunity in WWE to get better, they're going to send. If they're not going to give her the opportunity in WWE to get better, then she's going to realize, okay, if she still has the love for this and she doesn't want to lose that, she's going to go somewhere else. And I think she could go to AEW. She could go to Ring of Honor. She could go to New Japan. She can go to anywhere.
So
And-
she's
Send her
going
to
anywhere,
Impact
right?
for God's sakes.
Go to Impact. The women's
They already
division.
lost Tessa.
Shit.
It's a hard name for me to pronounce. I'm sorry.
Just-
They
we
lost
got
the
There's
Kimberly.
There's your mystery opponent at Slammiversary.
could be
It's just
Nevaeh,
stacked.
actually, now that I think about it. It could be Nevaeh.
She could show up on AEW Dynamite to Cody's open challenge for the TNT Championship and take it from him.
And I'd pop. I'd lose my mind.
That'd
I'd
be,
lose
that'd
my
be,
mental.
Oh,
that'd be lit. That would be lit.
that'd be groundbreaking. That's
I'd
breaking
be
the
groundbreaking.
barrier.
It'd be amazing.
I mean-
if
That's
that
changing the
happened.
world.
I mean, she'd kick all of our asses. I see no reason she can't
I'd
kick
let her
Cody's.
kick my ass, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Shayna with her big ass forehead. Anyway.
Come on, man. Leave that alone.
Come on, dude. Seriously.
No, she's a badass. I said I gave her credit where credit is due. She was a credible heel in NXT, and she's an incredible talent in the ring, and she's far better than her MMA counterpart, Ronda Rousey. But that being said, I'm gonna calling it like I see it, and I'm just making fun of the dumb shit, like the size of her dome. Anyway,
Disgusting. Disgusting.
Moving on.
Moving
It's all
on, boys. We had a brand new title design. We had a redesigned United States Championship on WWE this week. And it was unveiled by MVP, who's not the United States champion. But still, the design looks badass. If anybody can find it and put it as their background, I think Noah, I can get you on that. Or
Working on it. Go ahead and talk.
Personally, I think it was well overdue. They've redesigned the WWE Championship more times than I can count. Actually, I can count like 3. Twice. I'm sorry, because they gave it the one design that The Rock debuted, and then after that they had to unify it with the World Heavyweight Championship, and then they gave it that one to Brock. So twice.
The new logo.
Right, with the new logo.
Literally. Logo.
Right. They've done the Intercontinental Championship twice. They went back to the old school look back when Cody was a WWE guy, way before his real fame. They gave us the retro Intercontinental Championship design, and then they rocked that for so long, and then all of a sudden they give it this new belt. And they chose Sami Zayn to debut it. I think this one is well overdue. They've had that championship for years, like maybe a decade. I mean, they had it when John Cena was a mid-card. To put that in perspective. And they had to get, and then they gave him his own custom move your head.
You got it.
See, I like it. I don't know what you boys think of it. Personally, I like it.
Let me talk to you. The only reason that they did this is because the only reason that WWE titles exists anymore is for more personality. Through look at the side plates, removable. The United States Championship, when I think about what it presents and stands for, it never really changed as far as what it's supposed to present. Opportunity and being the best in America. Now, all the champions, to a degree, have tried to showcase that through their personas. I think about Kevin Owens was the new face of America. Shinsuke Nakamura did jack shit with it. John Cena gave us the ultimate opportunity with his open challenge. Honestly, when I think about titles, the number ones that need to be redesigned are the damn silver dimes that are your tag team championships. I did not think personally that the United States Championship needed a redesign. That being said, this design right here, I don't think it's necessarily bad, but for those that watch Twitter, if you look very closely at the middle, you remember something very unique about the logo for Great Balls of Fire at first? Someone's already pointed that out, the United States Championship here, and it disgusts me.
Oh, great.
It looks
now I
like,
can't unsee that.
Yeah.
It's like the arrow.
Thank you for ruining my day.
It's like the arrow in the FedEx logo. Once you see it,
Bingo.
You can't unsee it. Anyway.
That's why I love this one the best.
See, there you go.
Anyway, Pete, your thoughts on the new United States Championship. Dud or stud?
Give me a minute. So, do you ever look at something and it doesn't make the best first impression, and then it kind of just slowly grows on you, or vice versa?
Yeah.
So this is one of the times where I looked at it and I was scratching my head. Like when I first saw the title, I really wasn't that crazy about it. And then as I started looking at more pictures and everything, I was just like, all right, so go on a little bit. I think I had this picture mapped out in my head of what it was going to look like, and it ended up not living up to expectations, ridiculous expectations. Also, one thing that did not help, sometimes when they unveil titles, the lights do not hit them very well.
No, they don't. It's like they lose their shine, it seems.
Yeah. And I will say this, it reminded me a little bit of the TNA Championship. I don't know if anybody else saw that either.
I did. The pure gold TNT Championship with the silver font in the middle again. But again, the biggest change here. Now the plates can be changed on the side, which seems to be the conventional way WWE is going anymore.
I've never minded that, to be totally honest.
Me either. But why the United States title all this time?
But me personally, like I am a big, I like it. It's Again, I probably would have gone with the white strap. You know, I
right.
feel like it would have made it pop a little bit more, and we're good.
Hmm.
I still had 30 more seconds.
Nice.
Jack.
Well, I almost had a heart attack because that thunderclap was just so close. But
Oh, geez.
I think this belt reminds me of the old W sides because that's how we do things nowadays. But I really don't
That's how
mind
we
it.
do it.
Is it the first belt I would have changed? No, it would have been the tag belts for sure. We don't need those fucking nickels anymore. But I think it looks fine. It looks fine. Nothing too stellar, nothing too duddy, nothing too studdy, but it's good. It reminds me of the WCW belt, and that's it's fine by me.
I think it's it's a good revamp, and hopefully it's something that WWE can capitalize on and make the title bring more prestige back to the United States Championship, because it gets shit on so much.
Yep.
And I mean, as does the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, the main focus is on the big belts, but I mean, you have guys like the Miz, who brought like actual prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship.
Credibility, actual competition. I was recently watching the Fatal 4-Way from Extreme Rules a couple years ago with Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Miz, and Kevin Owens. So I get what you're saying. So hopefully the U.S. title will bring this new U.S. title will bring some of that.
They need matches.
Right?
They need matches for the new U.S. title, like they had at Mania between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and the Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, that match was really good for the Intercontinental Championship, and it was from 3 credible stars. Like, they need matches like that for the U.S. title again. I mean, or for the U.S. title, period, in my opinion. But anyway.
Extreme Rules. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, that slowly but surely, somehow, some way, in a convoluted way, brings us back to good old WWE with our what do they call it? What does social media call them now? The team of Bailey and Sasha, the golden role models. And Bailey responds every time with "that's not our name" or whatever the hell it is. These two are somewhat
Golden role models.
Golden role models.
Golden role models carrying Are they carrying WWE right now? I have some choice words for one of said 2 golden role models, but I want to hear
All the gold.
I want to hear your guys' thoughts first, because as of right now, they're pushing the shit out of both Sasha and Bailey right now. They are, they've given him not only Bailey the SmackDown Women's Championship, but just to throw us off our game when it comes to thinking that these two are going to fight each other, then they give them the tag belts. And then that changed Jack's tune, because he was like, those titles they're useless and they're pointless. And then they put them on Bailey and Sasha, and he's like, okay.
It's not just that, bro. It's not just that, bro.
But are Bailey and Sasha right now WWE's greatest tag team that they have right now? That's the question I think we should focus on and answer, and then I'm going to get into what I have to say about a certain someone. And I want to start with Pete on this one. What his thoughts on Bailey and Sasha are. Hopefully I didn't lose Are you guys moving, or are you guys frozen? Oh, okay.
Love it.
You pull it off, though. You're
Pete,
super over.
Pete,
So, my thoughts on Bailey. I will say this about the golden role models. They are doing a lot with, as far as, they are doing a lot more than it seems right now, considering the fact that they are going across all brands. They may not be doing it a lot, but they're doing it more than the New Day, and they're doing it more than the Street Profits. Really, they're doing it more than any other tag team, and that's something to be said. That's something to be said a lot. And even if COVID wasn't happening, they would probably be doing that. And also, my money is on Sasha Banks at Extreme Rules. Sorry, the horror show at Extreme Rules. And if by chance Sasha is to win that championship, then it would give them absolute dominance, even if it's temporary. I personally wouldn't have her lose, because then, it would give Bailey a reason to turn on Sasha, and Bailey has no reason to turn on Sasha. If anyone's turning on anyone, it's going to be Bailey. But my thoughts are, even if they're not the best right now, they're certainly up there.
Interesting take. Jack?
I think to call them the best tag team in WWE right now is to discredit the New Day. It's to discredit the Usos, like genuinely good tag teams that have been teaming, especially the Usos since the early 2000s or the late 2000s into the early 2010s. That kind of disrespects them to consider them a great tag team when they've only been doing it for as short of a time as they have, and it's been off and on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will give credit where credit is due. They are trying to bring relevance back to titles that have no relevance, the tag team titles. I personally don't want to see Sasha win the Raw title because what's going to end up happening is she'll drop it in 3 weeks like she used to do back in 2016, where she would drop it back and forth to Charlotte and Charlotte Flair. I'd love to see just one interrupted reign by Asuka, and I'd love to see Sasha Banks and Bailey drop the tag belts so we can finally see Sasha Banks versus Bailey for a main roster title. How long have we been asking for this? For 3 years now. Come on, WWE. Get it together.
Yeah, exactly. Noah?
Greatest tag team ever. Maybe as far as women goes, but no. And that's not just a shot at Dolph Ziggler. That's for another video. No, I do not call them the greatest tag team ever. But I will say this. When you think about tag team and these tag team titles, keep in mind, these tag titles allow you to go to any brand. It's only now that they're on Sasha and Bailey that they're literally on the brand that actually deserves them, and that's NXT. And personally, I hope that Tegan Nox and Kaden Carter get another opportunity, or Casey Canzaro and her buddy. I might be botching. Oh, sorry. Shotzi and Tegan, or Casey and Kaden. I hope personally one of those two teams get an opportunity at the tag team titles. The women tag team titles. Bailey and Sasha have made the women tag team titles matter the most since their existence. Now, as far as them having all the women's gold, that's a little overkill, and that's Vince McMahon literally trying to engulf this Raw and SmackDown women divisions together and create a white and purple title. But to answer your question, tag team of all time, but it would not surprise me if this is trying to book Bailey versus Sasha, winner take all, and you have a brand new women's championship that unites Raw and SmackDown's divisions.
That's interesting. I'm in the camp of, if there's a way that Sasha can lose to Asuka, and maybe what happens, and here's what I'm thinking, Sasha loses via disqualification because Bailey gets involved. That's my whole thought of. So wait, so did you guys get that? But the thought is, what
Sasha
if
loses via disqualification?
because Bailey gets involved, which thus begins the disconnect. Which thus begins the turn of events that then causes them to lose the tag belts to maybe it's, I don't know how you guys feel.
Okay.
I don't know how you guys feel about Alexa
I like
Bliss
that.
and Nikki. I don't know how you guys feel about Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross.
I want Nikki Cross to personally be a singles champion, but I don't see her beating Bailey. So if you're only going to do Bliss and Cross again, so be it. Just make sure they actually defend those titles in NXT.
The Iconics. They gotta lose the tag belts.
What about the Iconics?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. That's it. They gotta lose the tag belts to the Iconics.
Absolutely.
They should have lost it in the triple threat.
If Sasha is going to lose to Asuka for the Raw Championship, then this is what has to put the wheel in motion and start the storyline for what we get at SummerSlam, which is Sasha versus Bailey for that SmackDown belt. Yeah. Okay, but they gotta lose the tag titles first to who else but the
Iconics.
Exactly. I relied on Noah for the audio. Anywho,
Ambrose is my favorite. Okay, she's the one I believe that can definitely be a single star.
Thank you. But that's what I'm thinking should happen. Now, in regards to them individually, I have some things to say. Sasha Banks, in my opinion, is the personification of professionalism, class, both inside and outside the ring. I have nothing bad to say about Sasha Banks. She's an incredible talent. She deserves more. She deserves to have more title reigns than Charlotte. I'm going to leave that where it stands. I'm not really trying to bring in a debate on that one.
I'm not going to disagree.
Now, Bailey, on the other hand, great human being. She's really nice to her fans for the most part, unless when she's doing kayfabe stuff. really quality human being. She's taken the time to learn their craft. She's very athletic. She's good at, she's done training. She does what do you call it?
CrossFit.
Thank you. She's really good into
I
CrossFit.
differ in it.
He's developed her athleticism. And again, quality human being. Now that I have that out of the way, I'm just gonna bury her for the next 2 minutes.
Why?
Okay, because I'm talking about storyline and character. Okay,
I was wondering if it was a work.
No, it wasn't a work. That's real, and then this is also real because now this is the work because now I'm talking storyline.
Okay.
I'm
And
just taking big fella.
As a heel right now, she is absolutely her interviews are close to damn near garbage. Her voice sounds like an 8-year-old girl. And how did I phrase it, boys? Because I'm going to rely on my Twitter account for this one, Noah. Let me just take a look here at the old Twitter machine and see what we got here. You can keep the counter going, Noah. I have plenty of time.
Got 90 seconds.
Because for the rest of my life, as long as she's a heel, she's going to get buried by me. Let's see. So there's a picture of her screaming. WWE on Fox tweeted, "Oh, she's mad." My response to that was, "You deserve to be mad because you are an egotistical, delusional, overrated child." Let's see. So let's keep it going. And then that same hour, I said, "If you don't shut your childish demeanor, Chris Angel, Edward Scissorhands, haircut, have an ass, ego personified."
Oh my god!
I gotta go.
Whoa!
I gotta go.
Hashtag triggers. Keep going. You have 45 seconds. Keep going. I'm just listening.
Let's see. And then the WWE Universe on Twitter, they posted a video of her punching Kairi Sane in the face. The WWE Universe said, "Not cool." Hashtag WWE Raw, hashtag champion versus champion at It's Bailey WWE. My response to that was, "Oh, it's Bailey. Don't be a sourpuss."
That one I saw.
And then they posted the video of her interviewing with Kayla, and the whole time her voice is this 8-year-old girl voice again, and I'm just like, I can't take you seriously at all. You may be credible as a heel by cheating in all your matches and acting like a child, but it's a credible heel. I'll give it that. But I just couldn't handle the fact that I can't stand her haircut. My God.
Really?
Edward Scissorhands, Chris Angel having it.
Goodness. Huh.
All right, then. So now we know he's a man of style, and Bailey apparently does not have it in his eyes.
Eesh.
Bravo. Bottom line is this. I was doubtful about this heel turn from the very beginning. I remember on a podcast with Chris Jericho, she said she would only go heel if she absolutely feels despondent. And after that loss with Charlotte at Money in the Bank, that was the final nail in the coffin. And since then, we've been bashing for her on her generic theme that we finally got on WWE Music called Deliverance by who knows who. And you can't argue with it's Loves, dude, though. Whether you like her look or her voice or not, she's the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. She now owns Women's Tag Gold. And with the help of her best friend, they have really built the women's outlook in WWE to the point people want to watch these two. Whether you hate Bailey's voice or not, or you like Sasha Banks, like some of my friends just look at Sasha Banks and be like, yeah, there's the woman right there that I need to watch and see. That's all I need to see. That's the boss right there. Yeah. And I agree with that personally. But as far as the haircut thing, man, I mean, it's about as generic bowl cut I guess you're going to get. But
she needs to get some grease in there and slick it back like Punk did. I mean, that would look good.
She's never going to do that. She's never going to dye it either. She's literally just been this flat, like, bow, palm tree type look.
And don't get me wrong.
Hair aside, Bailey as a heel has been good for both her and honestly,
I don't disagree with that. When that first night when she destroyed the Bailey Buddies and then basically won the match, won the title back, and went on the microphone and said, "Hey bitches, screw all of you." She literally, that's verbatim. She said that on my.
And ever since she's become this champion, she's become more full of herself to the point that she's losing control of her own voice, it seems, or making you believe that to the point she's annoying you.
Yes, which is why, with what happens between Sasha and Asuka is so important. And this is why Bailey needs to get involved and cost Sasha the match, because we need to have them as a rivalry. So if this doesn't happen, it needs to happen later on. But what better when to start it than the next pay-per-view? You know, Asuka versus Sasha. Bayley needs to get involved and cost Sasha the match. Anyway.
All right. Good topic.
Now that we got that out of the way.
Glad you got that off your chest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now wait, they had now just to confirm that match between Asuka and Sasha is tomorrow, right?
It's Extreme Rules.
Oh, Extreme Rules. Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Sunday
And-
night.
And I agree with you for the whole, interference DQ thing because in Bailey's mind, even though she'll deny it, Bailey's got to be Sean and Sasha's got to be Marty.
Yep.
That's what
I have to agree.
it comes down to.
Yeah, literally.
What?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Shawn
Oh,
Michaels calls
dude.
Rosa Gonzalez and Dakota Kai literally a Shawn and Nash type pairing. So
But the thing is, it's like that is so disrespectful because you look at how what Shawn Michaels became, and you're calling Sasha Banks Marty Jannetty.
I never
Come on,
said that.
man.
I never was. I'm saying that's what Bailey
In
sees
their
Sasha
dynamic.
Banks as. And you,
Their
Right.
psychological warfare is basically what he's implying.
You see, but here's the thing. It's like if you're looking at it like one of them has to be Batman, the other one has to be Robin. It's like they're gonna try and convince you that they're both Batman. Like that's just
Yeah.
they're gonna fight. That's why they have to fight each other to prove to us that they're both Batman. So I think we can leave their whole storyline at that, and hopefully we see that split up because you're seeing these little signs from
pretty much.
You're seeing these hints from Sasha. Anytime Bailey says something that like I'm the best ever, you get this weird look from Sasha.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they're hinting at this. So I think at Extreme Rules it needs to come to a head, and we need to get this SummerSlam match between Sasha and Bailey. That being said, if Asuka retains, does that mean like? Yeah, I think time will only reveal who's going to step up and actually challenge her. Hopefully, this is
Shayna
an
Baszler.
opportunity. Yeah, exactly. We need
Natalia
Shayna
at this point.
we
It'd
need
probably be
Sasha.
Natalia. She challenged
need-
the Raw Women's Championship last year at SummerSlam.
Ooh, I'm not.
right.
Honestly, I'm not opposed to Natalia. I know she's been around forever. I mean,
Sorry,
but,
you said
I mean,
Natalia and I fell asleep.
She doesn't get enough credit in the ring. Her promos are garbage, but at the same time, she's
except when they're against Nikki Bella. That promo was pretty good. That promo was
Well,
pretty good.
congratulations on your latest pregnant pics, Bellas. Good luck with your baby. Oh, and congratulations to, shall we congratulate former member of the Riot Squad on becoming a mother?
On a soon-to-be mom on her pregnancy, yeah, Sarah Logan. We need to address that. That's awesome. It sucks that it happened. Why? I guess what happened is being let go changed some things.
Well, she also decided to retire herself from wrestling and focus on more real-life pursuits.
There you go.
I respect her.
Nothing
good
wrong
on
with
her.
that.
She had
I
a
do.
lot of potential, but she was never looked towards it, I feel like. And she never was able to capitalize off it either because they didn't want to book her. I mean, she sold me out after her very first match in Mae Young Classic with Mia Yim.
Yeah, I miss the Riot Squad. I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna go on record and say that I miss the Riot Squad. I wish they
I
would
don't
have
blame
done
you.
more with them. They should have been around when they developed the tag team championships for the women. They should have. I think they could have. They could have done the Freebird rule like what New Day did, like with the three of them.
it's not used enough.
Exactly.
That rule is not used enough.
It's
I
not used enough, and
absolutely
they could have done that with them. And also, but it's awesome that another one of the girls is deciding to become a mom. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's, I don't know how you guys probably know this by now. For the women, it's hard to do what they do in the business, and then be able to step away and for health wise, and for
Right.
Yeah.
The whole thing, yeah.
the whole kit and
thing. I mean,
caboodle.
Karma
It's
had
hard
to
for
do it because
it's hard
of
for
the fact
women.
that-
It's hard for them to have children, and
Yeah.
the fact that we've had, and then now we have both the Bellas pregnant with babies. We have Sarah Logan, we have Becky Lynch, all gonna be moms. That's awesome.
That's the
and
future. So good
and-
for them.
to next generation, if we're wrestling fans when we're 40 years old, our kids will be talking about their kids. That'll be a sight to see.
Maybe. We'll just have to
Exactly.
wait and see.
Yeah, but I have to
Now-
wait and see on that if we live to see it.
If we live to see, hopefully we do. Knock on wood.
Tomorrow's never
Now,
guaranteed. Good old JR.
Guys, this is the thing that I've been waiting for a while to talk about.
Main
You
event.
have main event of
Not the show.
of night number 2 of American Bash. We have Adam Cole, baby,
Baby.
and Keith Lee for both titles on the line, winner takes all, North American Championship and NXT Championship. They're doing, and I'm holding true to what I said before. They're totally burying the North American Championship by doing this, but still, I mean, it's not like they didn't separate the 2 women's belts at one point. I mean, Becky had both belts, and then they separated them. So it's not like
It's not permanent.
This might be just a temporary thing, but who is going to come out on top of this one? Who can carry NXT with both belts? I'm really fascinated and curious. I have my own idea of what's going to happen, but who do I want to start this one? My goodness. Jack, I'm going to start with you, big boy.
Okay.
Who you got coming out on top? Who do you think is walking out with both belts?
Coming out on top? Okay. So it's kind of impossible to talk about the main event without the spoilers that hit. If you didn't know, there were spoilers that were
I didn't pay
leaked
attention
by.
to those.
If you didn't pay attention to them, that's great. But there are some that people that did, and they put it in a report. Yeah, you spoiler free. I won't spoil it then. But there were screenshots of someone coming out on top, and if those were to be believed, then we'll see something very interesting happen. I will stay spoiler free, however, and state that I think it's time for the Undisputed Era to finally debut on Friday Night SmackDown.
Yes.
And I think
agree
it
with
is
that.
time for Keith Lee to show us why he wants us to bask in his glory and hold NXT in the palm of his hands as the NXT champion. I think it will be a very back and forth battle. I think there will be interference galore by the Undisputed Era and maybe Dexter Lumis. Who knows? We'll see. However, through all the odds, we will see Keith Lee come out on top, and we will all bask in his glory.
I love that. I love that chant. I love that chant when they do that. Oh, bask in his glory. Oh, bask in his glory. Like, da, 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 da. Like, I love that. I agree with Jack 100%, and I agree with the fact that they need to bring the Undisputed Era to the main roster. I think that they need the Undisputed Era on the main roster. Not need. I don't want to say need, but I think that would be awesome because then that will cause more superstars to team up to try and take them down, and then this will get them maybe full babyface. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't know. Like I agree with Jack 100%. I think if Adam Cole loses, the title reign ends. It's one of the longest in history, and that's exactly. And then the main roster needs the UE, like that's exactly what it needs, and it needs that for counter programming reasons. Even though Raw and SmackDown are on the same nights as AEW, they need that for counter programming reasons to say that Raw and or SmackDown are still worth a damn, and also for NXT so that they have an undisputed champion. Who challenges Keith Lee after this? Someone like a Cameron Grimes, someone like a Priest. What's his first name?
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. Thank you. Who, in my opinion, has been turning a little bit more babyface recently, less of a heel. I don't know if you guys saw that angle where he was ambushed by Grimes outside of his car. Damian Priest has been kind of pulled a babyface on us. I don't know, but now it's just like I think Keith Lee is the perfect person to carry NXT, and that's the perfect reason why the UE with Adam Cole, baby, to go to the main roster. Whether they go to Raw and SmackDown, I think that's up to Vince. But hopefully they're booked right and they're not buried the shit out of and just used poorly. But with Vince McMahon's track record. But anywho, Noah, your thoughts on who's walking out on both of these? Walking out with both belts.
Geez, I keep saying it. New Japan Pro Wrestling did it first. I don't know how long they're going to do it. I honestly don't see why you have to put both titles on a single man. We've already seen teases of how Keith Lee has been endorsed by the big dog Roman Reigns back at Survivor Series last year. And honestly, Keith Lee, whether he goes to Raw or SmackDown, he can make it. There was other rumors about Dijakovic going to Raw or SmackDown. He has yet to show up on either brand. The bottom line is this, though, when I think about Undisputed Era and Adam Cole. With the lack of tag teams, the continuous story going on with Dex Lumis and Roderick Strong, and who I think is next to face Adam Cole, baby, I believe, personally, Adam Cole is going to become the undisputed NXT champion, and the next person to face him will be at NXT TakeOver Judgment Day in Karrion Kross. I respect Keith Lee for everything he's done with the North American title. The man has limitless potential, literally. But honestly, I feel like he's bound to go up to the next roster. They already got Matt Riddle on SmackDown. SmackDown doesn't necessarily need of a crap pot title. With that being said, I don't need to see Undisputed Era on Raw getting eventually buried, especially when Vince, for example, doesn't know a damn thing about tag team wrestling. There goes two of the guys right there. And you think Roderick Strong is just going to get immediately pushed to the United States Championship? I don't know. With Adam Cole and Drew McIntyre having a history, though, I would like to see that meet. But I see other history coming before that with the fact that Robert Roode was drafted to Monday Night Raw because he and McIntyre have history too, and I see that come into play at Extreme Rules. I can rant about this all night, but I know how long we've been going, and I'm sure Pete's got stuff to say. Bottom line is this. I personally believe Adam Cole, baby, becomes the undisputed NXT champion. Simple as that.
Pete.
All right. So I also somehow managed to avoid the spoilers. So basically what I'm going to say is that I agree with Jack. Keith Lee is going to win this match. He's going to come out on top. I believe, and I also believe that Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era are going onto the main roster. But I do that speculation because I received a tweet from Adam Cole saying that he has canceled all Twitch streams in the next week due to work commitments. So we may have some actual proof. As far as Keith Lee winning the title, you're right. He's had it for, I think he hit 400 days now. Now the celebration of him winning the title is going to be short. I believe is going to be short-lived. I think he is going to win the title, celebrate for a few minutes, even be some confetti. And who is going to spoil the party? I'll give you a hint. Keith Lee smashed his hourglass.
TikTok.
Oh, God.
I think it's going to happen.
Karrion Kross and the Dragon Lady.
Angel of Death, Scarlet Bordeaux.
Yeah, Daenerys from Game of Thrones.
You put some respect on Scarlet Bordeaux right now.
Yeah, regardless of who comes out on top, Karrion Kross is coming out and kicking the shit out of Keith Lee. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
but that's all I got.
Because in my opinion, if they want to keep what they're doing with Karrion Kross, they're going to. It only makes sense for Keith if they want to keep the story going. Because what WWE does is pods of stories. They don't like to keep the story going. They just do one story into the pay-per-view and then the next one starts. Then they get it to the next pay-per-view and then the next story starts. If they want to keep the story going with Keith Lee, then they're going to have Karrion Kross interrupt this party after he wins. But
they wouldn't have had him break the hourglass if they didn't want to have some follow-up.
Yeah.
Noah got outvoted there. He's the only one seeing Adam Cole going over victorious. But we'll see, guys. So there's a couple things we want to do here. I know Pete's got a fun little game for us to play, but one thing I wanted to bring into a conversation: people come up with dream matches. It's our job as wrestling fans to come up with dream matches. We come up with dream matches all the time. Something I was thinking of recently that would be interesting to see, especially now that they've not been in the same company for a pretty decent amount of time. If we had the match between AJ Styles and Kenny Omega right now, who you guys got going on top and why? And before you guys even go and give your answers, I want you to just think about this when it comes to where they've been, what they've accomplished, and where they've traveled, what they've been able to do for the business as a whole, and how long they've been wrestling. Like, think about the actual statistics of each guy, and why is it that they would come out on top? And for that, Noah, I'm going to start with you on this one. I keep pointing to the wrong way. I keep forgetting that it's mirrored. This
Yeah, I do that all the time. This way, or this way. Well, I could do that with this match. Oh, my God in heaven. It's hard to go against AJ Styles for everything he's done for the wrestling business and who he has inspired, including Kenny Omega, who at one point was planning to quit professional wrestling altogether. If it wasn't for AJ Styles, gentlemen, we would not have Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega's classics with Okada would have never happened. Period.
Ooh.
With that being said, I look at the respect, I look at the longevity, I look at both these men' growth, evolution, what they bring to the ring, in character, in storytelling, in absolute endurance. I don't know if AJ Styles has gone the distance in a single match as far as Okada, over 1 hour, I might add, against Kazuchika Okada. That broke the Richter scale in professional wrestling, according to Dave Meltzer. But I could talk about this match all night, and one day I hope it does happen. But if you're going to put me on the spot who I think would win in a match like this, if we get cleaner Kenny Omega, I can honestly see him, because he did put out AJ Styles, Bullet Club. I can honestly go with him beating AJ Styles, considering AJ Styles, he's only got 2 more years of wrestling in him before he focuses more on his family life. And Kenny Omega, he's just more about the AEW women's division, for example. But bottom line, keep it simple. I'm going to go with Kenny Omega. Overcomes AJ Styles in the big match I hope I see one day before I die.
Damn. Noah hitting us with a swerve. Jack?
Okay. So you don't get called the phenomenal one for being lackluster, and you don't get called the best bout machine for putting on shitty matches. So what in the end, we're going to get possibly the best wrestling match in the world. Not the greatest wrestling match, the best. Because we already saw the greatest with Edge and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm so back and forth on this, because I'm looking at AJ Styles. I'm looking at him, building TNA, being the guy, traveling the world, the Bullet Club to WWE, winning the WWE Championship twice, being a top guy in a company that he shouldn't be a top guy in because of how they've operated, versus Kenny Omega, the guy that, was athletic and great and all that. Then he went to New Japan and put on 6-7-star matches with Kazuchika Okada, and now he's one of the executives of AEW, and now he's
and Chris Jericho.
The future. But this is just such a back and forth. Due to how long this man has managed to stay relevant, he has managed to be around as long as he have. I have to give it to AJ Styles. I have to give it to the phenomenal one. It'll be a close match. It'll be maybe a 90-minute match, but I have to give it to AJ. Just out of everything he's done, everything that he's accomplished, and everything that he has yet to accomplish. Because years, he will win another championship, AEW championship, to show how good he is.
Bold prediction there. And to think if he went to AEW and the AEW championship match was literally Kenny Omega and AJ Styles.
Ooh.
All out 2024.
It'd be the greatest match we'd ever see. There'd be no topping it, but AJ would come out on top.
Pete.
Piggybacking off of what Jack said, if he's getting this W, Kenny Omega is making him earn it. But I gotta go AJ Styles. I look at their resumes. I look at what AJ Styles like. When I think of TNA, I think of AJ Styles. I think of a lot of other people too, but he is the first name that comes to mind.
Same.
Like he pretty much, he didn't build Ring of Honor, but he was one of the guys that really helped redefine it. And when he was in Japan, pretty much everywhere he has gone while he was there, he was the first name that came to mind. And not that Kenny Omega wasn't that as well, but he kind of laid the groundwork. It's like, to Noah's point, without AJ Styles, there really is no Kenny Omega. So one had to come before the other. And that's just, it's one of those things where it's kind of an experience thing. There's not much of an experience difference, but it is there.
There you go.
And I will say this. I'll save the debate part of it for another day, but I think Kenny Omega should have gone to WWE.
I mean, technically he did for a hot minute, but this was before the Kenny Omega we know now. This was
the Bill DeMont era, bro.
This
was
was
a good era.
This wasn't the. This is if he would have went to WWE, I think they would have buried the hell out of him and not even made him a star. Because
I don't think they would have.
Yeah, they wouldn't have. I was saying that, yeah, definitely they wouldn't have. And I'm glad that what Kenny Omega did was going and make – see, that's what I love so much about this business, boys, is the fact that, like, you don't have to go to WWE to be a star. and I think we're proving now it's like almost guaranteed that if you go to WWE, your chances of becoming a star are very slim. Slimmer than going somewhere else. Like AEW, like Ring of Honor, and that's what literally everybody did. The list of names are endless. Cody, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, everyone.
Darby Allin, who would have been literally just stealing by the Cruiserweight division.
Sting.
Well, yeah.
You can't say.
Yeah.
Sting was not built in WWE. Sting didn't have to go. He chose to go to WWE at the end.
Yeah, at the very end.
He didn't need WWE.
I'm still holding on.
Neither did AJ.
I'm still holding on to hope that we get that Sting Undertaker match. But anyway.
We won't.
Damn it.
Sting is teasing us.
We won't.
Oh.
Sorry, boys.
I want that. But anyway. See, because this is hard for me because I know that, I know how much, what the star that can and the professional wrestling match to piggyback off what Jack said. It's not sports entertainment. This is a full-blown wrestling match.
Not sports entertainment. That's professional wrestling, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And even if it was an empty arena match, we'd still be pissing our pants to that match between AJ Styles and Kenny Omega.
Right.
It's like but the thing is, it's hard for me to not put over AJ on this one. And I got to go with AJ Styles. To give Kenny Omega all the credit that he deserves, it would be a phenomenal match, literally, because the outcome would be AJ Styles coming out on top. There would be several near falls, several submission holds, several high spots. There'd be several spots where you think the other guy is out and they kick out. They kick out of each other's finishers. Do not tap to a submission hold. It would be a phenomenal match, but literally phenomenal because AJ would come out on top. And I consider the fact that AJ has been in everywhere. He's done everything. And to me, Kenny, it's not that he lacks experience. He has plenty of it. But if you want to make a good business decision, or not a good business decision, but if you want it to be a good match, a phenomenal match where the two are shaking hands by the end of it, you got to put AJ over.
Fair enough.
Now, and then I had a similar debate on who would be better in a match, Seth Rollins versus Kenny Omega, but that's for another day. That still would be a good match.
Oh, that's easy. That's Kenny Omega all day, every day.
Oh, yeah, I'm not even gonna. I can just literally.
That's not a debate.
5 seconds. Kenny Omega, simple as that. Sorry, Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega over Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Okay.
You're cracked if you think otherwise.
At least this Seth Rollins that we got right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. Now, okay, who do you guys – all right, now let's switch it up to the ladies. And this isn't from separate companies. This is from just strictly WWE. Who do you guys got coming out on top, Asuka or Shayna Baszler?
Oh, why must you make me pick?
You fuck.
If it's NXT – If it's NXT Shayna, I'm going with Shayna because I wanted that match while she was still champion. I wanted Asuka to come down.
Shayna should have been the one to take the title off Asuka.
See, if it's NXT Asuka and NXT Shayna, it's Asuka. It's Asuka at that point. But if it's WWE Asuka and WWE Shayna, it's Shayna. That's the shitty part about it.
That's two different worlds.
It's two different worlds.
You're trying to outdo Bayley versus Sasha from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. That's the match to do it.
Yep.
Right.
This thing, I had it mapped out in my head on how I would have booked this. I just would have booked it a certain way, and it was basically to make Shayna look like the baddest woman in the world, even badder than she already is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Why we're not getting this match now
NXT
astounds
Baszler
me.
over anybody. Period.
Anyway,
I'm not going to bring up my blasphemy for 2 weeks ago because that's another dream match. Anyway,
No, it's not, bro. Don't ever say that bull
So
again.
I will disconnect from here right now.
please don't. So we could go on dream matches all night. Pete, I know Pete had a fun little thing to cap the show on. Pete, I'm going to leave it in your very capable hands, my guy.
All right, so this is going to be quick because we got to get out of here. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to circle around. I'm just going to go with Noah G, Simple Man, and Jack. That's just the order rotation I'm going to go in. I'm going to list off a wrestler for each of you guys. Each of these guys, what they all have in common is that they are each one title. So Noah G, I'm starting with you. Now, granted, these aren't the most realistic names in the world, so just forgive me. Noah G, Kevin Owens.
So wait, before we go any further, Pete. So what we're doing is we're listing off somebody who, because you cut out a little bit. I do apologize to our viewers and to everybody, but he cut out briefly. Got him back. You said we're naming somebody you named somebody who's close to being a Grand Slam champion, and we're doing what now?
Where I'm naming off a wrestler who is one title away from winning a Grand Slam title, and when I name the wrestler, you name the title.
Oh, so I'm trying to guess what title it is that they're missing.
Yes, it's a short list because I couldn't find very many realistic ones, to be honest. But so we'll be done with this quick.
Gotcha. It's the tag team titles, right?
Yep.
All
right, Simple Man.
The United States Intercontinental and okay.
Yeah. Simple Man. Sheamus.
Amos? Oh, Jesus. Was he ever... it's one of the mid-card titles. I know that. I'm trying to think which one he didn't have.
Oh, dude.
God. Well, I miss Sheamus as a babyface. If that
Can he phone a friend? Because I think I know.
I mean, hey, if I don't know it, I don't know it. Again, it's like being a wrestler.
The sad part is, I really can't stop you from doing that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm also an honorable player, so I'm just gonna guess.
Noah,
what?
Pete's holding the title around his shoulder.
I knew it was either U.S. or Intercontinental, dude. I can't remember when he won the damn U.S. title.
Against Sheamus, because Sheamus won King of the Ring, and then they put the United States Championship on him, which was one of the most horrific things that I will never forget for the rest of my life.
Oh, no wonder I forgot it. So thank
Sheamus,
you. I knew it was a mid-card title.
Sheamus
I forgot he ever was United States champion. That's
Yeah,
why I was like, hey, did he ever hold the United States title? Because I know he never held the Intercontinental, but he's only one title. Anyway.
All right, Jack.
That's good.
Drew McIntyre.
Okay. Drew has never been a United States champion.
Yep. Braun Strowman, Noah G.
Braun Strowman with him, it's the United States title.
Yep. All right. Simple Man. CM Punk.
CM Punk?
Yeah. I need material.
I keep thinking mid cards for some reason because wait, no, he was Zack Ryder was a freaking. Was he ever the Intercontinental champion?
Yes, he was.
He beat William Regal.
He beat William Regal for the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh, that's right. Survivor Series 2009. He was the freaking. Okay, yeah. So it has the United States title then.
Yep. All right.
That's good.
Like I said, they're a little unrealistic. Zack Ryder.
Oh.
WWE Championship.
That one's easy.
That was so damn easy.
Duh.
I'm kind of eeny mowing this thing. Noah G. AJ Styles.
Let's see. Tag team championship.
Yep.
He never held a tag title.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not yet. Simple Man.
What?
Simple Man. Let's take a little different direction here.
Oh,
Sasha Banks.
Oh, fuck.
Wait, what?
Sasha Banks?
It could be. Oh,
wait.
Yep. Now I know.
Yep.
Because for the women for Grand Slam, it doesn't include the Money in the Bank, right?
No, it
I don't.
includes all.
I'm not even putting. I'm not even putting anything but like actual like belts.
I'm about to say
on her,
she's
to be
only
honest
putting
with you.
she's only putting actual belts.
Oh my
on
god.
them, so-
This is
I know.
Oh wait,
so
seriously, dude, come on! This is a freaking SmackDown Women's Championship.
There you go. Okay. Jack. Oh, Bliss.
What?
Alexa
Alexa
Bliss.
Bliss.
Alexa Bliss.
Oh, the NXT Women's Championship.
Yep.
Alexa, stop! Doggone Echo Dot.
You heard
Fuck! Thanks a lot, Pete.
you said Alexa. Hey Alexa.
You be quiet. You don't say her name. You
I
don't
forgot
say her
that.
name.
I forgot she wasn't the NXT Women's Championship.
But her heel persona being established in NXT was fantastic. You got
It was.
Does the list continue?
There's 4 more names.
All right, keep it going.
All right. Noah G, you got Shelton Benjamin.
WWE Championship.
Yep. Or just I just put world title. Really, any world title would count. Like the
it was
universal
different
title.
times. There were different world titles. I mean,
It still counts. Like
Yeah.
Kevin Owens being Universal Champion, like still counts. No, Simple Man. This is another giveaway. John Cena.
John Cena, Universal Champion.
Nope.
No.
Well, he's held multiple world titles, but there's one actual mid card title he's never held.
Oh, really?
And it's not the European title.
Nope.
It's not. Oh, the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep.
Boom.
Jack. Kane.
Whoops.
Kane's never been a United States champion.
Nope.
What?
And Noah G, you got the last one. Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair has never been women's tag team champion.
Nope.
That's not it. What?
Thanks for going on this little trip with me, boys.
Wait. You said no. Oh.
No,
you
I said yeah. I said yeah.
You said no
Oh,
and then
yeah.
yes. Oh, okay. Because I was there. You were
Yeah.
like not
Okay.
answering Jack. So wait,
Huh?
Kane's never been U.S. champion,
Yeah.
and then Charlotte's never been tag champs. Okay, gotcha. You were
Yeah,
saying
that's-
no. You were saying no.
that's
And I
all of
thought
them.
you meant like, hell yeah.
All
Well,
right.
boys,
That was fun.
That is all.
I like that.
that was awesome. I think we both have a lot to look forward to tomorrow night with Fighter Fist versus Great American Bash.
I don't have alcohol in my hand. I have to go. I have to drive somewhere. So
Part deux. No, I'm drinking water as well. Anyway, boys, with a toast to those who love us. May those who hate us, may their hearts be turned. And if their hearts cannot be turned, may their ankles be turned in an ankle lock so that we may know them by their limping. Awesome.